Welcome dear viewers and subscribers to another exciting video where we will explore and discuss the 10 most civilized countries on the continent of Africa. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already subscribed and write on the comment section, "I have subscribed," and I will reply to each of your comments on the comment section. Now let's get started. Top 10 Most Developed Countries in Africa 2023. The Annual Human Development Index, HDI, is the most commonly used measure of a country's level of development. It measures how developed a country is by taking into account factors such as education, health, and social services. It adds them all up to produce a value between 0.00 and 1.00. With this score, countries are slotted into one of four different categories: low human development, 0 to 0.55, medium human development, 0.55 to 0.70, high human development, 0.70 to 0.80, and very high human development, 0.80 to 1.0. Generally, Africa is the least developed continent, apart from Antarctica, and many of its nations continue to struggle with problems like poverty, political corruption, and armed conflict. It is worthy of note that, in comparison to the world average, African nations typically perform poorly. For instance, the most developed nation in Africa came in at 66th place out of 189 nations. Here are the 10 most developed countries in Africa. According to World Population Review, number 10, Morocco, global ranking, 121, life expectancy, 77.21 years, GDP, $124 billion, gross national income per capita, $7,368. Completing our list of the top 10 most developed countries in Africa is Morocco with an HDI score of 0.683. Morocco has maintained a largely stable and successful state since becoming independent. It has the fifth largest economy in Africa and exerts substantial influence in both Africa and the Arab world. Morocco's resources come from its mining, manufacturing, service, textile, and other industries. The nation also depends on telecoms, information technology, and tourism. Morocco has excellent future possibilities. Number 9, Botswana, global ranking, 108, life expectancy, 69.71 years, GDP, $17 billion, gross national income per capita, $16,437. Botswana is among the most developed countries in Africa with an HDI score of 0.693. It is home to the largest diamond mine in the world. Botswana ranks 108th out of 188 countries on the list of the world's most developed countries. Botswana currently boasts one of the highest per capita growth rates in the world. Number 8, Gabon, global ranking, 119, life expectancy, 66.84 years, GDP, $16 billion, gross national income per capita, $13,930, with an HDI score of 0.706. Gabon is one of the most developed countries in Africa, according to our source. Gabon is one of the wealthiest countries in sub-Saharan Africa, with the fifth highest GDP per capita, PPP, in Africa and the ninth highest HDI. The nation is richly endowed with private foreign investment and petroleum resources. However, because of income inequality, a large portion of the population still lives in poverty. Number 7, South Africa, global ranking, 114, life expectancy, 62.8 years, GDP, $329 billion, gross national income per capita, $12,129. South Africa is an upper-middle power in international affairs. It maintains significant regional influence and is a member of both the Commonwealth of Nations and G20. It is a developing country, ranking 114th on the HDI in the world. South Africa is the 7th most developed country in Africa with an HDI score of 0.713. In addition, South Africa also has one of the largest economies on the continent. The country's economy is mainly driven by agricultural, industrial, and tertiary services sectors. According to the World Bank, South Africa is one of the countries with high human development. Number 6, Libya, global ranking, 105, life expectancy, 73.29 years, GDP, $24.27 billion, gross national income per capita, $15,688. Botswana is one of the top-ranked developed countries in Africa with an HDI score of 0.718. The country has a life expectancy of 72 years and boasts the highest per capita income on the continent. Libya's major source of income is oil and natural gas, which accounts for 3/4 of national income and nearly all of the country's export profits. At the beginning of the 21st century, Libya had the greatest HDI of any nation on the continent when Gaddafi was still in power. However, all changed when the US, NATO, and rebels started their heinous and devastating attacks on the Libyan people and their government. They currently rank as Africa's 6th most developed nation. Number 5, Tunisia, global ranking, 97, life expectancy, 77.17 years, GDP, $44.27 billion, gross national income per capita, $10,414, with an HDI score of 0.731. Tunisia is ranked the 5th most developed country in Africa. On the global scene, the country is 97th. In 2009, Tunisia was ranked as the most competitive country in Africa by the World Economic Forum. Tunisia has a life expectancy of 75 years old and an economic freedom score of 56.6. Its overall score increased by 0.8 as a result of improved financial health. Number 4, Egypt, global ranking, 166. Life expectancy, 72.38 years, GDP, $394 billion, gross national income per capita, $11,466. Egypt has one of the highest HDI in Africa with a score of 0.731. The country's economy is heavily dependent on exports. About 3 million Egyptians work overseas, primarily in Libya, Saudi Arabia, the Persian Gulf, and Europe. Pressure on the economy and resources is still present due to the rapid population growth, scarcity of arable land, and dependency on the Nile. Egypt's economy is centered on agriculture, media, petroleum imports, natural gas, and tourism. Number, Algeria, global ranking, 91, life expectancy, 77.32 years, GDP, $155 billion, gross national income per capita, $11,174. Algeria is the largest African nation by land mass. According to our source, Algeria is one of the most developed countries in Africa, coming 3rd on the list. More so, the nation has the highest HDI of any African nation that is not an island. It is also the most developed nation in North Africa. Algeria has an HDI score of 0.745 to earn the number 3 spot. The export of natural gas and petroleum contributes almost 1/3 of Algeria's annual GDP. Number 2, Seychelles, global ranking, 67, life expectancy, 73.65 years, GDP, $1.20 billion, gross national income per capita, $26,904. Seychelles is the 2nd most developed nation in Africa, with an HDI score of 0.785. It is made up of 115 islands located 1,500 kilometers east of the coast of Eastern Africa and is one of the top honeymoon locations in the world. Its economy is mostly based on tourism, agribusiness, and fishing, with tourism employing the majority of the workforce. Seychelles is also one of the most educated countries in Africa. Number 1, Mauritius, global ranking, 66, life expectancy, 75.36 years, GDP, 13.50 billion US dollars, gross national income per capita, $266. Mauritius is Africa's most developed country with an HDI score of 0.802. It boasts a life expectancy of 75 years and a literacy rate of 91.3% and is known for its advanced economy and free health care and schooling. Since gaining independence from Britain in 1968, the country's economy has developed from a low-income, agriculture-based one to a high-income, diversified economy. Mauritius has a high ranking in terms of economic competitiveness, a favorable investment climate, competent governance, and a free economy. The country's economy is centered on tourism, textiles, sugar, and financial services and has attracted significant investment from both domestic and foreign companies. Whereas Mauritius is the most developed nation in Africa, the country is ranked 66th place out of 189 nations in the world. Mauritius, Seychelles, Algeria, Egypt, and Tunisia are among the top 5 most developed countries in Africa, with strong economies, high living standards, and developed infrastructure. However, they still face many of the same challenges as other African countries, such as poverty and inequality, and have a long way to go to reach the same level of development as developed countries in other regions of the world. Thank you for watching this video to the end. If you love this video, do hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to be part of our growing community as we continue to bring more content like this to your way. See you again on our next video.